want everyone to understand the meaning. So when someone came into the family, they took great care to explain the power and the essence of what Kwanza was all about. And I was very deeply moved because the values of Kwanza are powerful. To me, I felt a sense of an understanding of community and heritage and an honoring of the ancestors that was so powerful, so vivid, so necessary. And it spoke to me. And I felt the warm embrace of a beautiful family and the warm embrace of a holiday filled with meaning. And it stuck with me. And I think everyone who hasn't experienced Kwanza, everyone who only has had a glimpse of what it means, has an opportunity to learn a lot more and feel why this is so important, why it's so special, why it was created by people who realized something was needed. I want to thank everyone who's gathered here. There's some very special people going to speak. We're only going to each speak for a moment because we know it's really, really cold. But our hearts are warm. Special thank you to everyone who helped make this happen, everyone from the City Hall team. Of course, we're going to hear from the artist in a moment for her amazing work. I want to thank Mitch Silver and everyone in the Parks Department who made sure this happened as a labor of love. I want to thank Assemblymember Radnis Bashant who has joined us. Everyone who's here because they care. Everyone is here because they do so much for the community. Thank you for being here. And everyone, over these 7 days, we're going to keep celebrating. And each day is a powerful principle. And Charlene's going to call out today's principle, but I want to just look ahead and say the one that I think New Yorkers have exhibited in an amazing way in this most difficult years is the principle of Imani, faith. We've seen such extraordinary acts of faith and love this year. We're going to celebrate that as the week goes on as well. So with that, I want to introduce person who I owe thanks to for introducing me to Kwanza and who does so much for the city out of that love and faith, our First Lady, Charlene McRae.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Harambe! Habari gani! Happy Kwanzaa, everybody! I want to have a moment of silence for our ancestors who we would not be here if they had not had the strength and resilience to carry on in difficult times. And a moment of silence for all those we lost this year. Kwanzaa is much more than a holiday. The 7 principles are a guide for our lives, a reminder of what is important, our values, our family, our community. We had our struggles this year, and how did we get through? With unity, together, by caring for each other, by remembering the older adults and those who have the least among us. And that is how we will move forward. With unity, together, with a spirit of umoja. Umoja. You say that with me?
Umoja.
One more time. I want to hear you say it with feeling.
Umoja.
That's right. So we are starting this new tradition here in City Hall Park, and I thank the man who sparked the idea for this celebration last week on his radio show, Ebro in the Morning. He is a great New Yorker, an entrepreneur. He is a truth speaker, and most of all, he is a leader in our communities. So I want to thank you, Brother Ebro Darden, for this wonderful idea, and I want to thank you, Maisha, for the majestic Kanara that graces our celebration this evening. And thank you all, brothers and sisters, out here in the cold, but with your warm hearts. Let's make this a memorable first Kwanzaa.
sometimes people actually get credit. And Ebro Darden, someone I admire and appreciate, said a few days ago on the radio to me, we should be doing Kwanzaa celebration. We should make sure the whole city feels Kwanzaa, the whole city experiences the beauty of Kwanzaa. And I heard Ebro say that. I said, well, Ebro's just right. You know, that's what we got to do. So everyone can feel and experience it. So we're going to give credit where credit is due. We'll give thanks to the person who said it was time for Kwanzaa to be celebrated here at City Hall in New York City. My pleasure to introduce Ebro Darden.
Woo!
Abadigani.
Abadigani.
Abadigani is a term that I learned very young. I was raised in Northern California and started to learn Swahili terms through Kwanzaa. Swahili being a language spoken in many parts of Southeast Africa. Abadigani means what's the news? What's the news? Kwanzaa meaning first fruit. And so we're here to not only, as the First Lady put, recognize our ancestors. The red candles represent the blood of our ancestors. The green candles represent the earth, the prosperity, the land, the future, the opportunity. And the black candle represents the people. But I believe that the 7 principles of Kwanzaa is something that everybody can gather around. Specifically black people. This is a very Pan-African acknowledgement, Kwanzaa. It is not religious, it's cultural. Right? So some people confuse Kwanzaa as Black Christmas. You can celebrate Christmas, but you can also celebrate Kwanzaa. My mother's Jewish. She celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas. So when I had the mayor on the air, I said, well, if everybody can celebrate Hanukkah and everybody can celebrate Christmas, why can't we all celebrate Kwanzaa? And so here we are today with a great opportunity to learn, to come together, to unify, and to become people that support one another and become allies of each other's culture. Because black people, as you all know or may not understand, we are always attempting to define our place here in North America, teach people the pain that we have gone through in defining ourselves as black people in North America, in the Americas in general, while also connecting back to where we came from. And Kwanzaa is a part of that exercise. So with that, I turn it back over to the mayor. Thank you all for coming out. It was something that I salute my family over here, Jazz and Issa, and also the Favors family over here, who we celebrate Kwanzaa together every year. This year, we're here. We weren't gonna have a reason to get together because, you know, COVID, so we're social distancing, but you know what? City Hall Park, we're outside. It's the place, bundle up, let's do it. Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa, everybody.
Guys, it's freezing.
Thank you, bro.
My gloves are in
I
the car.
appreciate
Oh no.
what you spoke about, everyone finding their meaning, their truth. This is a holiday full of truth, because it helps to restore and respect so much of that some have tried to take away from people of African descent. And here we celebrate the beauty of this holiday. And this kinara, if you just look at it for a moment, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's moving. It immediately gives you the feeling in your heart why this holiday is so important. And the artist who created this kinara has been a leader spreading the message and the meaning of Kwanzaa here and all over this country. We thank her for that extraordinary work. We thank her for the beautiful work of art she has created for New York City. I honor to present to you Iesha Sekou.
Habari gani? Umoja habari gani? I'm very honored to have created this, and I have to do my piece. I hope the ancestors forgive me for pouring from plastic. You should never pour libation from plastic. You shouldn't use something toxic doing something special. And plastic and styrofoam is toxic, and you should never do anything special. You really shouldn't be using them much either, but it is what it is. I'm very honored to have created this and put to use one of the principles. Really, all the principles came to being for this to happen. The first one was, I knew I had the Kwanza creativity, because I'm a creative person. I'm a maker. I'm a multimedia artist. I work with all kinds of things. And I like to share that. And I like having this opportunity, because a lot of times women don't get this kind of opportunity. So I appreciate this. But, you know, I had to have faith that it would happen. And the city had to have faith that I could make it happen in less than a week. I had less than a week to do it. And then I had friends who came in. So we had collective work and responsibility going on, right? And I had a procurement team running around. After I couldn't run around anymore, I had to get and start cutting and sanding. I had all my sister friends, they running around trying to find some outdoor candles with battery lit, you know, so everybody wanted it to happen. You know, not just, and we're from Philadelphia, we're not from here, right? But we're Philadelphia is very Kwanza centered. Right now we lit Boathouse Road, red, black, and green, and the skyline is red, black, and green. I'm about to catch up. So we're very, and I was supposed to be at an event where they're lighting up the boathouse tonight for Kwanza. But it takes all of us working together to make things happen. And certainly you know that as a city, you know, dealing with this pandemic and you're still functioning and people are still coming together. And Kwanza, it's time for us to in-gather. But we're doing it virtually, and we're here and sharing time and space, which is, you know, it's just rare to get a chance to do this now, so I appreciate that. So my thinking into this, when I was clear that she said she wanted to do it, she said, well, can you send me some sketches? I sent 2 sketches real quick, because I always have something in my head. You know, I always have something. I'm a creative person, so it's always something bubbling around. It's the spark. This is one of the principles you see this for Kwanza, creativity. It's an electrical spark. It's how your brain will go when some idea comes to you and it goes like, phew. That's the symbol. And that's always going off in my head, right? It's, you know, something, I see something, how can I do that? How can I make that better? And that's what that principle is about, you know, to do always as much as we can in the way that we can. And so I saw this as a challenge, and I like challenge, and I wanted it to be a statement. I can't stand tacky, I can't stand something that don't look the best to represent who we are. And so I said, well, everybody said, well, who else best can do that but you? You know, so I was honored to do it. But I'll give you some idea of the concept. You see this big goose of cyber symbols are down the front. But the frame itself, I had some other ideas. I was trying to do different parts of Africa. But it kept sending me back to ancient Egypt. So this is like a temple in ancient Egypt, one of the pylons. And you see it there, and on top, it's a boat. It's a boat on top of it. And the importance of boats in ancient Egypt is when the Nile floods and inundates, it makes them able to farm and harvest and sustain themselves. So it's talking about harvesting, the same kind of thing we're talking about here for Kwanza. We're harvesting the people. So the boat is a very sacred symbol of people coming together and being able to get their needs met. Right? And so we have to do that. You know, 2020, we hope 2021 get itself together, but we still got to get our needs met. You know, our physical ones, our emotional ones, our spiritual ones. We still have to do it. And we're hoping we all have a boat that can help us get there. Right? A boat, a steady boat that can take it. So that's what the boat is, to provide a steadiness, the way for people to travel, to get their needs met. So that was my thinking in this whole thing. And just give it this look of a sense of presence that we will all get our needs met. You have to practice these principles. Practice them daily, not just on Kwanza. We just highlight them during Kwanza. I use them every day. At the end of the day, I go through an inventory. I said, man, I had a hard time being self-determining today because I wanted to curse somebody out. You know? So I go down, I use it as a reality check. Some days I can hit all 7, some days I gotta work on some of them, you know? It's hard to have faith sometimes when you see some awful things going on out here. So I use it daily. But during Kwanza, I highlight them. We come together and we lift them up and give them energy. And so we light, you see the black candle with the Roja candle. We always start with the people first. The black represents the people. So you can't see it with all the light, but it's a black candle lit. And we're going to light the rest symbolically, how we would light them every day. Just to say if we're together for 7 days. So we're going to have them all lit and represent that we have gathered by the end of the last day. So we have to have these colors, you know, red, black, and green, because you know they are colors. You always tell people you can't. I tell my sororities, don't put your sorority colors up there, candles, you know, the Canara, and you can't put leftover orange from Halloween, you know, those kind of things. We have to have red, black, and green because they're our national colors. No matter where we see them, if we see red, black, and green, we know, oh, somebody black up here. Don't you? Don't you see it? It's automatic. It's a connection. It's our national, it's our culture, it's our cultural colors. So we have purple or green, that don't move. That don't send us that kind of energy. But red, black, and green, as soon as you see it, you be looking around. Oh, okay. Somebody else up in here besides me. As soon as you see those colors, that's the importance of why we have to keep them red, black, and green. Sometimes that black candle's hard to find. Start looking around Halloween. That's what I do. You know, and just get them early. You got to think in advance, right? But it has to be these colors. Like the brother told you what those colors meant. But there's connection to this. Talking about Egypt, we know these colors from Marcus Garvey from the UNIA. But really, I had an old book from the UNIA because my uncle was a member of the UNIA when it first started. I found some of his things.